Hey, Steven, looking good tonight, man.
Well, thanks. I worried whether spending this much time on my appearances would really prove out and be worth it. But you know what they say, you put a little bit of extra effort in and it comes back to you, many times over.
The black screen is really a good look for you.
Well, they say that that color is very slimming. So
A kid said something the other day about adding 10, the camera adds 10 pounds. I said, well, how many cameras are on you? Apparently
something only a father could say.
That's an episode from Friends when Monica was at her prom or something. I don't know, but yeah, apparently it applies to dads too.
Okay, Steven, Justin, Peter. How about David and Levi?
David is with you from home.
Okay. Levi, do we have you here with us? Not yet. We'll give him a minute or two. Well, at least I think I got everything going this time well enough, within timely manner.
Nathan, this is Peter. I just unmuted my microphone. Can you hear me okay now?
Yep, sure can.
Thank you. I forgot to unmute the audio.
Yeah, it can be tricky.
Nathan, can you hear me?
Yep. Well, I don't see Levi. We'll go ahead and get rolling, and if he shows up, then I'll let him in. Okay, I'm gonna use the time on the computer. I'd like to call the regular scheduled meeting to order at 7:02. I see we have some guests here with us. Just remind you guys to go ahead and make sure you keep muted till the end, till public comment. And if you would like to announce yourself, you can go ahead and do that at this time. Nobody's willing to chime in. Okay. Well, we'll keep rolling. Okay, additions to agenda. So, Levi, are you here with us? I don't think so. Okay.
Nathan,
So,
this is Peter. Do you have Levi's cell phone number?
I believe I do. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I can text him here real quick. The one
For
addition to the agenda that I had was actually for Levi's, so I'll go ahead and add it anyways, and hopefully it chimes in at some point. And that is the storage shed options. So something we've been talking about. We've got a committee working on it. Levi wanted it added, so hopefully it gets in here with us.
A couple of things, Nathan. I don't know if there's going to be much discussion on this item, but I'd like for us to quickly talk about this, where we are, and continue to remind people of the intention of looking towards property sales.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, if you would have no objection, I don't know if this is proper to do, but to move the treasurer's update before the approval of minutes and bills, just for sensitivity to Mike's time.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why we can't do that.
Nathan?
Yeah.
I asked Mike about that, and he was fine where it was at, just to let you guys know.
Okay.
Oh, never mind then.
Unless,
I will see. Mike, are you on here with us? Well, I don't know if he's with us, Steven. So if he chimes in, I think we can move things around, so we can do that if we need to. Otherwise, we'll just kind of keep the schedule as it is, or the agenda as it is.
Hey, Nathan?
Yeah.
This is Justin. Not really an addition, but a question. So on the hearing for our 6-year transportation plan, do we have that document? I don't know if I got
No,
it.
nope. So I was going to touch on. I guess I can do
Okay.
it now. I need
No,
to.
no, you
I
can
need
do
to
it then.
strike that from the
You can do it.
agenda and wait. The thing is, I still want to talk about it a little bit. So
Let's just keep it there then.
yeah, we'll keep it on there. But no, you don't have that document. Just to answer your question. Any other additions?
Nathan, this is David. Were we going to talk about the surplus fire truck, the back, at all? Any discussion on that, or do we want to talk about that tonight?
We certainly can. We can give a quick update on it and kind of what the committee's talked about.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll add the Mack truck to the agenda as well.
And one more, I guess, maybe, or just ask about it if it's going to be on there, but the policy handbook, is that something that you're thinking about doing before the end of the year?
Yes, we can. We can certainly. Let's just add it on there, and we'll talk about it quick
Great, thank you.
as an agenda item. Okay. Looks like we have 4 additions. And looks like Mike is joining us now. So let's. Mike, can you hear us? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Would you rather go ahead and do your part, your treasurer's report now, in front of the minutes and the bills and all that? There we go.
For some reason, I had unmuted, but it wasn't unmuting for you. So I apologize. No, you can wait and do me where you have me in the agenda. That'll be fine.
Okay. Alrighty, we'll get rolling then. I guess a motion to approve the agenda and the additions.
So moved.
Okay, motion by
David seconds.
Okay, any more discussion on the agenda? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Peter says,
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes 4-0. Thank you, guys. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the November 12th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve or to accept.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Steven. Any more discussion on that? Okay, all in favor of approving November 12th meeting minutes, signify by saying aye.
Peter, aye.
Aye. David, aye.
Aye.
Okay, did I hear an extra one in there, or Levi, are you with us?
You might have heard me, Nathan. I didn't know if you heard me right at the first. I was kind of got stepped on, and I didn't know if you heard that.
Okay,
So I said aye again. So yes,
Okay.
that's why you might
Yep.
have heard an extra.
no problem. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, council. And then the November 24th special meeting minutes. Any questions, comments, concerns?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion made by Justin,
Peter seconds.
seconded by Peter. Any more discussion on that? Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Peter.
I wanted to make sure the figure cited under preliminary budget hearing is correct. It's page 3 of these minutes, I believe. Page 2, I'm sorry. Under preliminary budget hearing, second paragraph brings in an additional, is it $12,510?
Yeah, that's the number I cited.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to make sure.
Sorry, I was still getting there.
That's my only squawk.
Yeah, it looks like that's the right number. That's the extra income from,
Revenues from the tax levy.
no, from the, going from the discounted rates to the full rates, correct?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. All in favor of approving the November 24th special meeting minutes, signify by saying aye.
Peter,
Aye.
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 Okay, we did get 5 in there. Levi, you're with us?
I am.
Okay. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, guys. Okay, working on the bills. Does anyone have any questions on that?
I do have a question, Nathan. I get these in order, but TD or the engineering outfit. It seems like we're paying them all the time here. What are they doing for that money? I mean, last time, this time it was over $4,200, and it's on that Adams Street project. But like last month meeting, their invoices it's over 5,000. And just, what are we getting for it? What the heck are they doing?
They are doing the preliminary construction work, preliminary work before construction starts on West Adams Street. So they're doing the surveying, they're working on the plans, doing all the paperwork associated with that. They've been out cold. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, did any infrastructure, was that addressed before they're going to tear into this street, like sewer or water pipes or gas lines, any of that been addressed? Are they going to take care of that before they go forward?
Yeah, so the grant is just for the rebuild of the actual street. There's no money in there for the actual utilities in there, but I've spoken with Scott about those beforehand, so I had the same question. So he said things are in pretty good shape up there.
There's nothing's worse than spending the money and get the money to do something, make a nice street, and then somebody wants gas or or something, and they go tearing across it again. Do we have a moratorium on this? I mean, that after it's done, that we, like a 5-year or so many years, that you can't allow tearing into that street once we spend all this money?
That I don't know. I don't believe so. I've never seen anything as far as a stipulation on timing wise. So other than the utility companies themselves, we should be the only other one tearing into it. So as long as we're confident that our utilities that the city owns are in good shape, we should be in pretty good shape. And I don't know if there's a stipulation for any of the other utility companies coming in. If they want to come in and replace something or just change something, that's a pretty good question actually to maybe do some research on.
I think probably nothing right this time, but going forward, keep that in the back of our minds when we have a project or street projects, that we implement some kind of procedure for addressing those concerns, and going forward from here. So just keep it on the back burner, my suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I have one more. Northwest Fire Service Incorporated. There's claims, and it says Fire District 6 is paying this bill. What's that? What's that about, that claim?
Yep. That was originally sent to us for the city pumper. There's a yearly pump test that's required to have done on that. And so it originally got billed to us, but we pushed it off to the fire district, and they agreed to pay it because they own the truck now.
I don't see how much. Am I failing to see it here? How much that was? It doesn't give an amount.
Let me look. I believe.
Does anybody else see that?
I just looked at it last night. I believe it was 400 and some change.
Okay, so.
But the amount in our bill is 0, so we're not. It doesn't look like we're paying it. So.
Yeah, no, we're not.
I think that's about another one. The credit card, Chevron credit card. Are we still getting charged $75 a month for that bugger?
As far as I know, yes.
That's soon to change, isn't it? We planned on changing that.
Correct.
With this other credit card.
Yep, correct. When we if we ever get this other credit card going, that's gonna replace, or not replace, but we will stop that other credit card so we don't have an annual or a monthly fee.
Okay, yeah, because it's quite a bit, really.
Yeah.
And there's just a couple of things when it's reported in here, COVID and a bunch of other stuff with it. How do we separate that? Is it something Janice just does with receipts? Try and get an example here. I thought I had it marked. I apologize. Oh, COVID supplies, thermal paper and envelopes. I don't know if is that all COVID supplies, thermal paper and envelopes?
No. So the COVID supplies, that's all bought through the same place. However, she separates that out with the receipts, and then there's a form that's submitted to Commerce for our contract. So we'll get reimbursed. The city will get reimbursed for that then. For the COVID part of it, yes.
Any
correct.
hassles?
Yep.
Okay.
Peter has a question.
Go ahead, Peter.
Going back to David's comment a moment ago about the credit card, what line item is that? Is that 1012
Correct.
Chevron?
Yes.
Okay. How long have we been paying $75 a month for a credit card?
Well, that credit card was here when I arrived, so I don't know the length of time that that credit card has been with us.
Is Scott on the line? Would he know?
Scott is here with us.
Okay.
Well, Nathan and Peter, all I can say, I never knew about that $75 a month charge, but we've had that credit card since I was it was here before I was on the council or as the mayor, so I was never aware of a $75 per month fee.
Is that the base payment every month? Is that $75 in addition to whatever items are charged to it?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just $900 a year, yeah.
And I can look at it closer too and make sure that that is a monthly, not a yearly. It could be an annual fee, but I can look into it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully we can get rid of that soon.
I got another question on line item 101052 to Scott McGowan. I don't know if it's a reimbursement. It goes to Green River College Waterworks renewal. Is that a license that he's paying for?
Yes, that is a license. That's the annual renewal fee for that license.
Okay, and he's not having to pay that and then the city reimburse him, correct? Or is the city just writing? How is that done?
No, I believe this time it's a reimbursement.
Okay. Has that always been done that way? Just a reimbursement for their licenses and requirements?
I am not entirely positive.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I think
Yeah, it's probably not.
those are credit card things where, again, the city has never had a credit card. So I think when I was signing those checks, it was the employee would get that and then bring it, just like I do with the fire district for my EMT certification. I go do it with my credit card online. I give them the bill for reimbursement.
Okay. So I guess my question is to everybody going forward with this credit card, are we going to ease the burden on the employee having to pay this right up front and the city just take care of it? Your thoughts on this, guys?
I would certainly think so, David. I mean, there shouldn't be a reason that we couldn't do that.
Okay. We can discuss this at later dates too, but I just thought it was, if employees are having to do this, and I understand, but if this is a requirement for his job and stuff, I believe the city should, step up and pay it. And I think it probably will with this card. It might solve a lot of this.
Yeah, we still have to put together a policy for the credit card stuff anyway, so we can address that when we do that.
Okay. Yeah, that we do. Okay, that's all my questions, guys. I yield.
Any other?
Yeah. Hey, Nathan, this is not a question, but more of a comment.
Sure.
I would just suggest that we try to, for any of the COVID or CRF reimbursements. So there's different language in each of these bills. Some is for COVID, some is for CRF. And I think it's going to make it easier on ourselves later when we're audited or when we have to figure out, like, to run a report to say how much we had, to have these all coded on the same budget item or same register item as
Same
CRF,
language.
COVID. It doesn't matter which one it is to me, but I think just for sake of ease, having it as one rather than having multiple entries for different things.
Okay. That is noted. Any other questions? Okay. Do we have a motion on the floor for this? Were we in discussion or have we made it that far? I can't remember already.
No, move to accept the budget as presented, or the bills as presented.
Bills.
I'm sorry.
Motion by Stephen.
Peter seconds.
David, second.
Okay, we got a second by Peter. You beat you to it, David.
Okay.
Any other?
Well, I'm closer to you. No,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Peter,
Aye.
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 Okay, heard everybody. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, guys. Alrighty. Mr. Treasurer, we have graciously made it to you in 25 minutes.
Well, again, I want to thank you for your willingness to move me up. But again, no need for that. I appreciate the very kind gesture. But I know dealing with a consent agenda, dealing with bills, it's nice to get that stuff just kind of done and out of the way and so forth, so that you can then just transact business and not have to wait around with that. So again, thank you for that. I hope, council, that you were able to take a peek at the treasurer's report in one way, shape, or form. I tried to send it as an Excel file so that you could see what it looks like to me, but also then I took a picture of it and made a PDF file in case you could not open up the Excel. If you have that in front of you, you will notice under the out column, about 3 columns over, actually, I guess it would be the 5th column, my apologies, in the report. In the out column, there are a number of IFTs, as we call them, under current expense. Those are just fund transfers within the bank accounts itself. Those are just in our own books. Those are not actual transactions between bank accounts. And we've done a number of those in November just to kind of clean up issues from the budget as far as monies that were in the 2020 budget to be transferred between different funds. And each one is entered separately. Those are essentially a by hand movement. So that's why they're all the same number, because they're written on the same form. And you just have to follow the dollar amounts around. But we're trying to make sure that when you guys are getting ready to do the 2021 budgets, that the monies have been appropriately moved, and so you can establish a good beginning balance for each fund. There were a few funds that I didn't really move the money around yet because I want to wait and see what happens in December with bills that are coming through, and if we can leave some funds where they are, it might be more advantageous. But really the point of moving a lot of money in November is just to make sure that we are abiding by the budget that you folks passed last December, so that we're doing what we're supposed to. The auditors come in and they often ask, well, why didn't you move the money that you passed in your resolution that you were going to do in your budget? And so we want to make sure that we're doing what we said we're going to be doing. All funds are in the black, as they should be. We try to make sure that that happens each month. It is balanced with the bank accounts, and so we are in good shape. So that's essentially the treasurer's report, and if you've looked at it and you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those at this time before I move on to other stuff.
I don't know if it's appropriate to this document. I can't fully tell yet whether I can answer this from the document. I just haven't got there, but can you say what the net overall to the city is throughout this year?
Net revenues, net expenses?
Just, sorry, so how has our balance changed year over year?
Our balance generally sits relatively the same. It doesn't move a whole lot. We're actually from some of the balances that I've looked at in past years, we're actually up we're a little bit higher right now. So we've been very good at being careful with funds over the last 2 years. I would say that we're probably up a little over $150,000 from where we were maybe 2 years ago. But we've been very careful, and we haven't had big projects and things that have incurred a lot of extra expenses either. So,
Great.
and that's just a rough
Yeah, no,
guess.
that's all I was looking for. That's very good. Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Okay. And again, I say that number, and please understand, and for the record, that all I'm saying is a number I remember as our total balance in the past was somewhere around 880,000. As you look at that bottom right-hand corner of the treasurer's report, and now we're sitting right around $1 million. But again, it just depends on the month as things kind of go up and down and big bills come in. So I do not want to insinuate that we are making money off of our constituents. We are not. That is not our purpose, and that is not what we do. So please don't misconstrue that statement in any way, shape, or form. So moving on to the other issue that I sent out to you, and Mr. Slack, please feel free to chime in here. I have been trying to find the time and the means to do the thing I asked about clear, as Mr. Slack found for us last September. And I'm not talking 2 months ago. I believe it was, what was it, 14 months ago then, right, Justin? Is that correct? It was September, I believe. Yeah, we need to get our investment funds moved. And they are sitting, some of them are sitting liquid in our checking account, and they need to be invested. And I have been negligent in getting that done. And so I contacted the state treasurer's office. She said they got back to me and told me the forms to how they needed to be filled out, because there's a specific way they needed to be done. And those forms are finished and ready. And so we are going to begin moving some of our investments, those that are liquid right now, that are just in cash. We will move those into the state's local government investment pool. And they give us a pretty safe return. Their primary mission is to preserve and protect the principal balance that we give them. And so I'm very confident in what they do. And I believe there are over 500 entities within the state that are part of that state investment pool. So it's a very strong investment pool, and something I really think that we need to be doing. So I hope you had a chance to look at that. And Mr. Slack, go ahead.
Thanks, Michael, for doing this. My only question is, I've happened to find it at the last minute here. So we did adopt a resolution. It was 216 on September 11th. So knowing that now, would we change I'm using my mouse on my screen because I see it, but would we change the date that's on the bottom of page 2 that says it was passed and adopted by the Council of City of Harrington on today? It says this day, 9th day, but would we amend that to be the 11th day of September 2019, or?
You know, that's an excellent question, and I will pass that along to. I'll ask the question of the treasurer's office tomorrow when they are open. I have a call into them already and waiting for a response. So if they want the date that we actually passed it, because it was the same form. This is the 2018 form, so there's no danger of the form being incorrect. If they are willing to accept a predated form, I think that would be most appropriate. But I will ask them tomorrow, and we'll make sure we get it right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. If there's nothing else, I will just sit quietly by.
Any other questions for our treasurer, council?
I just have one question. This is David. Well, actually two. What's the projected rate of return on that investment? You may have said it, but I didn't hear it. Or do you know what's projected for a return?
My apologies. I did not say the rate of return, and I can get you that number within a matter of moments. They post it daily, actually, on the state treasurer's website. Very quickly, I can tell you that.
Well,
Go ahead and ask
I
the
mean, a ballparkish, it doesn't have to be right to the penny, I guess. But
So real quick,
I'm just kind of curious.
David, you weren't, I mean, this was something that happened last year. We had a discussion, a pretty big discussion, because there was questions, but in years past, the city had an investment committee, and it was the mayor, the treasurer, and I believe the clerk. And this was going back maybe several years, and it was really headed by former Mayor Gilland, who managed it quite a bit. But then I don't know when it stopped, but if it was when it stopped when he finished being the mayor, or if it stopped before then. But we talked about it, where right now it's sitting in there, and I think it makes 0.00006% right now, basically nothing. And so this was a state pool that was better than that. So since we weren't actively managing it ourselves, it was the council at the time thought it was a great solution.
So just looking that number up for you real quick, Mr. Budrius, it looks to be about 1.8 to 2% annual, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. But as Councilman Slack said, our money market, essentially, we have about $183,000 in our money market account, and it currently earns us $1.50 a month in interest. And we pay actually $5 in bank fees for it. So we are not, we just are losing money where we're currently at.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that answered that. My second question is, and this is just out of curiosity, and I don't know how you feel about this, Mr. Conrath, but this fancy bias program that the city spent a lot of money on and things, would that work into the treasury reports or the financial end of it as well? Or is it even compatible, or is it something we want to do, or would it make life easier for you? Or
absolutely.
How do you feel?
Absolutely. I'm sorry to run over you. Absolutely. It is a fantastic system. It is designed exactly for this. My hesitation on getting involved in it has nothing to do with the system itself. It is simply finding a way to move my records over that are old and that have been developed by myself and previous treasurers. Also, finding a time to get down in there. We only have one seat for that program, and that is currently at the clerk's desk. And so to get in there and be able to work, the only time that would be available would be after hours at night, because I am not going to go in there and disrupt the clerk during the day. So once we kind of get finalized, I will gladly use bias. It is a great system.
Well, I was just wondering if that would be essential to you, or be an aid to you and help you out. Was my question, and you answered it. You think it would be a positive thing? Okay, cool. I was just kind of curious.
Absolutely,
I wasn't jump on anybody, but
it would have made the budgeting process and our annual report process much easier had I put treasurer's records on back at the beginning of this past year. I have just been slow to do that.
I wondered if going forward in the future, if we need another terminal base or something that the treasurer could work at. I don't know if both of you could be on at the same time. I don't know the answer to that, but so you're not tripping over each other, and at your leisure, you could do what you need to do, and clerk could do her business at the same time. Is that even possible? We need the computer guru here, Stephen, to chime in.
Well, I was actually going to ask Janice, and I don't know if we need to solve this on this meeting, so this is really more of a bookmark. But Janice, I know bias we're going to be moving to the cloud version of it pretty soon. It would be, if you don't already know, it'd be something that'd be interested to know if we can then put bias, once we've moved to the cloud, put bias on your machine and one of Mike's machines, and then log in with the same credentials, the same seat, as long as they're not used at the same time. At least that would put it on 2 different computers. And then you'd only need to coordinate schedules. It wouldn't actually block the computer. It'd just block bias access, perhaps. Licensing can be kind of a pain in the butt as far as how they lock you down. But maybe if we can find a way around that, we might be able to at least relieve a little bit of the pressure on this problem, maybe.
So what I'm understanding, that wouldn't leave the problem of Mr. Cronrath doing his duties or business at the same time as Janice. That's not possible to do. You'd still have a
Right.
So right now the
issue.
problem is that the installation of bias is only on one machine. If it's possible that once they move to the cloud version, if you pay for one set of credentials, it might be possible to have the same software installed on 2 separate machines, but only one account, which means Mike could use bias or Janice could use bias, but not the 2 of them at the same time. The advantage of that is that Janice can still be on her computer doing email and Word and all the other stuff that she does. She just couldn't use bias during this. So anyways, let's put a bookmark in this and figure that technical detail out at a different time. But
Yep. Okay, any other questions for Mike while we're on the subject?
No, he answered just fine. Thank you, Mr. Conrath. Mike, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
All right,
thanks, Mike.
moving on. We are on to the 6-year transportation improvement plan. So just a little bit of background. I don't have a whole lot of information. Obviously, Rick Becker did this when he was here. This is something that he does with the county as well. So when I jumped on board, I kind of ran to him and said, what is it and how do we do it? And so I had completed this with the help of Rick Becker when I was a council member. Going forward, we were going to have the Public Works committee work on it, and time kind of slipped away anyways. So I am working on that currently. I'll probably pull that Public Works committee back with me, but at this time I do not have it finished and out to the council. It will be done before the end of the year, so at our we're going to have at least one more meeting, if not 2. So I will get that out to you guys. However, the one thing that I would ask going forward is this is a document of a planned projects, obviously for 6 years. So we have 6 projects on there. The one thing that I'd ask of the council going forward is we have one that we need to replace. So the West Adams Street project was funded. So that gets to be taken off of this 6-year transportation improvement plan. So obviously I'm sure everybody has their idea of where we need things, where we need streets redone or sidewalks. There's a whole slew of things that can be put into this. So going forward between now and our next time we meet, I would ask the council if they see something that they want to put on that list to get a hold of me. Other than that, I don't have much. I'm going to leave that to finalize next time we meet. If you guys have any questions right now, you go ahead and fire away.
Nathan, I'll just say real quick, this is a really important document for us. It typically, like Nathan said, is done in May, I think. And for whatever reason, it didn't get done this year. But we need to make sure that it is done before the end of the year. It's how we get federal funding. That's how we got our Adams Street project. That's how we got our 2nd Street project a few years ago. There's several streets on there that have been on there for years, and they might be on there for years to come. But that's how we get it. So if we don't have this transportation improvement plan done every year, then we fall out for any consideration whatsoever. So it's very important that we keep up on it. And so there, like Nathan said, if something did drop off, that's fine. We can look at adding what we think if there's one additional project to add to it, because there's a set number. and there's already streets that are on there, that have been on there for years. And so I would look at the document that, for those council members that have been here before, it's the same one we've had, or for new council members to go get a copy from Nathan between now and our next meeting to look at it, and then we can identify any additional, an additional street project that we can add to it. But it is very important for our city, and that's how we've gotten the funding in years past to replace any streets that we have done. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. No other questions on that? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the mayor's update. So it's pretty quick. I only have two things here now. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the city received our wastewater treatment plant facilities plan update. So some of you have met with Andy Tom personally. Some of you may know who he is, but haven't met him. But he has completed the facilities plan update. So there's 2 copies here at the city hall. I definitely encourage you guys to come down and take a look at them in your free time. The purpose of this facilities plan update is to help us stay within and become compliant with our permits through DOE. So we have a state discharge permit, and part of this is helping us, because we just renewed our permit, this is helping us to show how we're going to stay within that. Then going forward, it also shows what we plan to do to stay within the requirements of our future permit. This will provide the city with our schedules and plant modifications should we choose to do that with Andy Tom. Some of the council members were in on that meeting where we met at the Memorial Hall and Andy talked to us. So anyways, that was just kind of a quick FYI. If you guys have questions, you can get a hold of me. Like I said, I would definitely encourage you guys to come down and look at it. It's pretty thick book. However, it'll help you kind of understand what's going on, and a little light reading. Okay, the second update that I had, the second point on there was our special meeting. So this kind of ties into a couple of things, but I'll touch on it anyways. I'd hope to have what I would say a newly corrected version of the preliminary budget, just to kind of go through and talk about tonight. Unfortunately, I haven't got that. I was waiting on some numbers, and I've got a little bit more work to do on that. So we originally had a special meeting set for December 22nd for our final budget adoption. I don't know if we want to still continue to do it on the 22nd, or I was actually looking at maybe pushing out to the 28th. The other thing that we're going to have to do at that same time is a budget amendment, or it's looking that way for 2020. So I wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts on dates, if anyone had any ideas.
This is Peter, Nathan. What do we have to amend on the 2020 budget?
Well, I haven't finished it completely. We definitely have some items I believe that we're going to have to amend, just as far as being not as a whole, but just as accounts that we spent some money differently than we had originally planned. I got to dig a little bit more into it, but that's just a kind of heads up in case we need to.
Okay.
Nathan, this is Justin. I think, you and I discussed last night potentially doing a workshop, which might be easier. That way it's not, no, obviously at the workshop, it's public. It's open to the public. If council members can't make it, then we're not making any decisions anyway at a workshop. but at least we can get, throw more ideas around if that's what you need. And it's a little bit less formal. So that's one option. If you think that maybe the 22nd, which I know you threw out that before, if we keep that as a workshop, and then that way you have the 29th, 28th to finalize that. And we, if we have to do you can adopt the budget then, and also if you have to amend this year's budget or something, but a workshop seems like it might be.
Yeah, I agree. I'd feel a lot more comfortable with definitely getting together one more time. I don't want to have a bunch of red flags or questions come up, when we're trying to adopt it, a final adoption. So I would definitely ask you guys to meet one more time and just for a budget workshop. So I'll have a proposed final, but then if there's stuff that we still need to look at or want to change or questions, that we still have a little bit of time. So.
This is Peter, Nathan. Is the latest version of the proposed budget for 2021 the same one we had in our last council meeting?
That's correct. I have not sent you another version.
Okay, thanks.
But it will be out shortly. We got some numbers that I needed, and shouldn't be too long. But yes, I have not sent out another version. And next time I do that, I will send it in the correct format so that you guys do not have numbers that are not correct. Okay. Next on the agenda is the OCTN, the senior meals. It says discussion and action. It's just a FYI, so it's just discussion. I received a letter from senior meals, or the Mid-County Seniors, and that letter was just to give us the knowledge that the Mid-County Seniors are severing their tie with the Okanagan County Transport and Nutrition. I'm not sure to the effect of why it was decided or what's going on there, but they're just, things aren't working out and they're not real happy, I think, with them. So as of now, no meals. They're not going to have senior meals. No meals are going to be served until the Mid-County Seniors can figure out how to do it themselves or what they need to do it themselves. The only other thing that I wanted to add there, Billy brought in a letter to me, and one of the things that we discussed was possibly if they get going on their own to be able to keep that same rate schedule that the OCTN had for the Memorial Hall. So if you guys kind of keep that in the back of your mind, we'll obviously visit this again when it comes up, but that was something that they proposed to be able to keep those prices the same. So that's just kind of an update.
Hey, Nate,
Yeah.
And Nathan, I have a question. What is generally the average capacity or people show up? What attendance? How many people attend generally?
I
to the
don't know
senior
that
meals?
for sure, David, but if I were to have to guess to give you a number, I'd say 10 to 15.
Okay. So it's a fair amount of people that probably are dependent on this.
Yeah, and I think it varies. From day to, they do three days a week, and I think it varies a little bit. But I think that number is pretty close. You could definitely get in touch with somebody with the Mid-County Seniors to be able to give you a better number.
And on these senior meals, refresh my memory here. I'm spun up on this. I know they have them, but is it once a week, twice a day, or what's the frequency of these meals?
Right now, it's 3 days a week.
3 days a week, okay.
Yeah. And I believe they're still doing it right now, but as of December 31 or Jan 1, they're going to sever ties. Which I'm not positive that they're still doing it right now, but I think they're carrying out till the end of the year, which is a couple of weeks.
Hey,
Okay.
Nathan, this is Justin.
Yeah.
So a couple of things for the council. So one is the city's involvement with this only is to provide the location and to be able to house some of the equipment that OCTN has. So the agreement that Nathan talked about is between Mid-County Seniors, which is a nonprofit organization in town that then contracts or works with OCTN to deliver those meals. So we really don't have our only involvement again is providing a location. So if we can facilitate that, that's what we've done. This contract issue that is up now came up, I think, last year and the year before. And the city just did not get involved in it because it wasn't really with the city. The city just provides a facility for them to have it. The other thing I would just point out are things that you'll have to probably you or Janice or both will have to keep on top of in the next few weeks then is OCTN has an inventory list of their equipment and they're going to probably want it back, which is fine. It's theirs, but you're just going to have to facilitate that and then get their keys and everything because they're pretty sticklers on the use of their equipment or not, people can't use their equipment and they have it locked up and different things like that. So you just have to work on facilitating that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So you got a letter. So the letter came to you from Mid-County Seniors saying that their intention is to sever ties with OCTN, or did OCTN contact you?
I was contacted by the Mid-County Seniors.
Okay.
Yep.
So you'll want to make sure, I don't know what the agreement is. I mean, it's been year to year with OCTN, but to make sure that it's not the city's role to be in the middle of it, which it sounds like we might have to be, but you probably want to reach out to OCTN as soon as possible, or have Janice do that to make sure that they're aware of it and that what their plan is to get their equipment out and how they want to deal with it, because it'd just be a mess. So
Yeah. Yep. I've got a note down. I will make sure that one of us takes care of that, and we'll get a schedule or something, or a time or meeting date. So, but like I said, as of now, nothing that we have to do. That was just came in. I wanted to let the council be aware of it.
Just a quick question, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
How long is this OTC, and how long have they been involved with this or in the Harrington Memorial Hall or provide these meals? How many years?
I
Does
don't
anybody
know that
have
for
an answer
sure.
to that?
I don't have a for sure answer. Mike might be able to help me a little bit, or Justin. I know I was part of the council when we redid the contract. It would have been in late 19, and I believe I was part of it in 18. So before that, I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I've heard about these meals forever, but it's just I didn't know who spearheaded it, who took off with it.
So OCTN has been there since that I've been on the council. There has been other organizations so OCTN, it's weird, like, right, it's the Okanagan County Transportation Network, but they have some kind of grant funding to do this. There have been other organizations, but I don't know if they've been acquired or if they took over, but OCTN has been around, I'd say, for at least 5 or 6 years, that if not longer, are managing it. But there could be other, I mean, they're just one of several types of these types of organizations that do this. So. And again, our agreement only is to provide, our agreement with OCTN is to give them a rate. We give them a reduced rate to use the facility to rent Memorial Hall, and then also allow them to put their equipment, which is maybe like a cooker and a cooler. I mean, there's a few different things, maybe one's a refrigerator, but so it's really just for the facility itself. It's not anything to do with the administration or the distribution of meals and whatnot. The city obviously benefits from it for our citizens. So that's why I think in the past, the council has been very willing and able to accept and offer them at a reduced rate for the use of the rental of the Memorial Hall. But beyond that, it's OCTN the Mid-County Seniors has been around probably as an organization probably for at least 10 or 15 or 20 years. And they're the ones that spearhead operating senior meals. So
This is Peter. I have a comment on that. I've been on the council since January of 2008, and I don't remember any other organization providing meals. My memory may fail on that, but I think we've been involved with them for a long time. And that leads me to a second comment, principally for Nathan. It may not concern the city of Harrington, but I'd like to know why the Mid-County group has decided to make a change. Has there been a rupture in that relationship, for example?
Peter, I would assume so. I do not know the details. I'd probably just send you towards whoever heads that up. I can look on the letter too. It gives the president of it, but I do not know exactly what happened. They just said that things weren't working well. Is the wording that I got?
I make the point because it may affect the service or facilities that the city is prepared to provide to the next group, and under what conditions.
Right. Yep. I'll try to find out a little bit more too and keep us posted. I don't think it's going to be anything that moves along really quickly, but I will definitely keep a tab on it, keep updating.
All right, I'll stay in touch with you on that one.
Okay. Okay. Safe deposit box. Another FYI, just wanted to update. I sent out an email. I only had 2 responses on it. I believe there's only 2. You guys should have received an email for a date tomorrow, December 10th. Everything, finally got all the paperwork and everything we needed to the bank, and plan on going in there tomorrow to see what's in there, see if that safe deposit box is needed, see what's going on there. One big point that I will mention, 2 points, I guess. The first thing is if the council decides to be there, one of the big the stipulation is to have current and valid photo ID. You will be recorded. They got to keep track of who goes in and out. So that's just be aware of that. I told US Bank 345, so I'm going to try to make it there a little bit before that. But so if you guys do decide to show up, make sure you have an ID. Second point, what was my second point? Boy, I lost my train of thought there, guys.
Before you go to the second point, did I hear 345?
Correct, 345.
Okay. And I believe I responded. I'd like to attend that.
Okay, maybe I didn't see your email, Peter. I'll look back at it, but that was the other part of it, is just to see what council members thought that they were gonna end up coming. So the bank just kind of wants a heads up. So if you guys plan on going, go ahead and let me know right now.
Nathan, this is David. I was originally planning on going, but tomorrow I have a CDL physical at 3, so I will not be able to attend.
Okay.
However, that being said, what are the plans? Is there any legal restrictions on taking pictures of what's in there or recording it that way that you could show or share with the council? Or, I mean, is that kosher?
Boy, I don't know the answer to that, David. I wouldn't think so, but if it is allowed, I could surely do that. The big part was just getting some different signers on there and finding out what's in there and whether we need to keep it, and kind of going forth that way. Well, but I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. I was just guessing, just an educated guess here, that there probably might be property deeds in there, and that might work into what we addressed earlier, or going forward, about property for sale and all that. That might give us a better clue what we really have and where they're at.
Yep.
So maybe, I don't know, just a guess. Okay. So I have no idea what could be in there. So I'm kind of curious, but I think everything's gonna be okay. I will not, for the record, I will not be able to attend. So
okay.
Don't count on me or hold up from me. So anyways, I yield.
continuing on David's point, this is Peter, Nathan. Do we have any foreknowledge what might be in that box?
I do not.
And do we know how long it's been since it's been opened?
I don't know that either.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Do we, well, one more question. Do we even know during what administration it was last accessed?
Yes. Well, I mean, I know Bunny was previously on there, as well as former Mayor Gillen, and there was a third name on there, and I don't remember. I believe it could have been.
Mary Alice.
Yeah, I don't remember the third name on there.
Okay.
Okay.
Justin, there's a question for Justin. During your administration, Justin, did you ever access the safe deposit box?
No, Peter, I wasn't even aware that one existed until it came up in this, a few months ago.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Justin, are you planning on coming over?
I wasn't, I'm completely confident in your ability to share with the council what you find.
Okay, thank you. Levi?
Yeah, I don't plan on being there. I think you guys can handle it without me. Just let me know what you find.
Okay, will do. And that leaves Steven.
I do not plan on attending. I think it matters in good hands.
Okay. They just kind of wanted an idea, so I can give them that. Thank you guys. Next item up, credit card update. Quick update. We're still getting paperwork to the bank. They wanted some additional paperwork, and we're actually, the city as well as the people here in Harrington at US Bank are in the process of figuring out what exactly that paperwork is. So I'll let you guys know an update on that as soon as I do. But that was just a quick update on that. Okay, that's what we had originally for the agenda. We've got a few additions up here. Levi, you're with us, and you asked for storage shed to be added. So I will yield the floor to you and let you go.
Okay, I just had a quick question about that. I don't believe Justin or I have received any feedback from anybody regarding what they want to do as far as a storage container or a shed. My curiosity was one of those, say, the prefab buildings up there in Airway Heights come to mind. Those were what I was thinking. Could we replace the shed that the meters are housed in right now, that awful looking building that's ready to fall down? Could we replace it with one of those prefabs and use that for storage? And if so, does anybody have any idea how much those cost? And I think the Lions Club had talked about chipping in on the storage container or buying it outright. I don't know. And would they be on board with something like that?
So I guess to
Those
chime
were
in
questions,
for
not
what I
statements.
know, I would say that they definitely had talked about chipping in or figuring something out as far as money goes on that. I don't know. As far as putting a prefab, I don't know how that would work with the utilities, the water shutoffs, or whatever's in the building, but we could definitely research that a little bit.
Okay. And who with the council or with the Lions Club would we need to talk to about that?
Al Tankey is the president.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I personally was most in favor historically of trying to replace that building that's at the back, just because of the state that it's in currently. What I had heard being tossed around previously was a storage container, and that was being nixed, I guess, by people that are prominent donors to the cemetery fund, and I really didn't know anything more than that. I felt it was a very difficult situation to know how to proceed because all of the don't do that was very vague, and
Mhm.
I knew it was an aesthetic concern, but I didn't know exactly how we would ever get past it. So the concept of a prefab building, I don't think that was talked about. If it was, it wasn't talked about much. I guess, Nathan, that would have, if we did have that discussion, that would have been while you were president. The last thing I'll say is that the Lions Club did indeed talk about pitching in, but also I have it on good authority from the Lions Club treasurer that the balance is down so far this year, considering we did not have a charter night, we did not have a fall fest, and we don't have
Right.
any significant fundraisers in the future. So while I don't think that makes it a hard no, I would say that the amount of money that the Lions Club was perhaps willing to contribute at one time is not necessarily the amount of money that they're looking to contribute now.
Okay. No, I was mostly curious, fact finding and opinions as far as feeling out the council to see how they would feel about it, and knowing that a couple of you are Lions, at least a couple of you, that you might have some idea of the feeling of the Lions Club toward that. I mostly just wanted information.
I
I
would
think
add
they'd
to
still be-
Levi, the other part that the Lions, I mean, part of their portion of contributing was, it would be the dual use for them to be able to.
Right.
To back in their trailer or something, not store the flags. So, and I know Randy Barons was looking at those prefab deals up in Airway Heights for the Lions Club before. I think that might have been last January or February before COVID hit. So, but
Okay.
they haven't done much either.
Okay, doke. That was all I had.
Yep, I'd say so. Going forward, guys, if you can get in touch with Justin or Levi on this, have questions or ideas or anything. I know this has been talked about for quite a while, so really, regardless of what happens in the end, I think we just need to have an answer for the city and for the Lions Club as well. So, you guys get some time, talk with those guys, and we can kind of move forward on this as much as we can. Thanks, Levi. Okay.
Yeah.
Property sales, Stephen, I'll let you go.
I don't know if we'll have a lot on this because unless Nathan's going to surprise me with a few things here, I think we've had bigger fish to fry. I believe our next step was really just establishing what is the process for getting land sold. And again, to refresh everyone's memories, this is about the fact that the city owns a collection of properties that, or at least are being hypothesized at the current moment. I don't think we have established or decided as a council that this is the case, but there are a number of properties that the city owns that we have to do some level of maintenance on. They don't produce any significant value for us, and the city owning it keeps it out of the tax base. So we wanted to at least look at, in a discussion yet to be had, for each individual property, of whether it would be appropriate to see if there would be anyone who would be interested in buying it and alleviating those pressures on the city. So Nathan, I guess if you haven't had time, which I would understand with handbook and budget and all sorts of things on your plate coming into the end of the year, I wouldn't fault you to say that there's been no progress on this, but I wanted it as an agenda item just to make sure that hopefully when we do get our blockers cleared, that no one feels like this is a surprise that we're at the point. But have you had a chance to talk with anyone or figure out where we're going from here on this issue?
So I would agree on the progress part. Very little has been made, that to no fault of anyone's but mine. I have went through the properties, and I have, with the list of properties that we own, I went through and made a recommendation to the council, or a personal opinion of properties that would be advantageous to sell, and ones that obviously that we wouldn't want to sell, that we can or we shouldn't. I had said at one point that I was going to get a map together and to be able to kind of highlight those areas, but I have not done that. Second part of your question for finding out the process, I have not done that, but I will certainly work on it.
Yeah, no worries. I really don't think it's a very high priority issue, in at least until January would be my 2 cents. But I just don't
Yep.
want to lose track of it altogether.
Nope, absolutely. Okay. And as I get information on any of these items that we've talked about, I'll try to keep you guys updated going forward, so that we don't lose track of it, like Steven said. Surplus Mack truck. I believe, David, you brought that up. Had some questions or wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Well, Valley, because for a couple of emails and correspondence we had there, is have the pictures been taken of it?
I don't believe so, no.
Stephen, or I think you had somebody's
No.
going to do that.
I gotta coordinate with Stacy to get that
Okay.
done.
I personally don't think we're going to get a whole bunch of income off of it, so I wouldn't be expecting, a big cash cow out of it just by looking at it. It'd be nice to get as much as we could. And in regards to your question in an email, Nathan, was how do we do this? Craigslist, eBay, or some social media, or I was going to entertain a public auction. Well, right now is probably one of the worst times to have a bunch of people show up for a public auction. So if it's not a big, concern, or time's not of the essence here, I'd wait till spring to come up with something. In the meantime, I don't know. I guess I was just told the other day that Craigslist, I believe, or one of them, is starting to charge for their ads. Is everybody aware of that? It used to be free, but I think, if you threw it out on there, and some of those sites, I don't have them now, but there was a couple sites that did deal with antique equipment, but pictures and put them on there and just see what happens. I don't know. Something crazy might come through the pipeline. I don't know. But as far as any public, and I got to be honest, guys, a public auction for it, I don't know if it would get much interest. So maybe the social media avenue would probably serve us better. Just your thoughts on that. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, so just kind of touch on what you said, David. I agree. The main part of my email that I had sent out to the committee working on this was just to kind of unofficially come up with a timeline and how we wanted to do it, so we had an idea, something that we could recommend to the rest of the council. I would agree with you in the amount that we'd get for it. I don't think it's going to be much. However, obviously we can all hope for more. I just wanted to kind of put together some kind of a timeline. So if we, want to try it, if we want to wait till the spring and then by a certain date, have it sold and start advertising maybe in January, and then have so many months, and then sell it by a certain date, or the avenue, like you said, do we want to have an auction, sealed bid, private sale? I mean, anything like that. Yeah. So I think we can keep working on it.
I don't think we'll get much of it out. I've just, been to auctions, quite a few, and I don't think it just depends, with this COVID stuff going on, and who knows how long that's going to last. And as far as a public auction in the spring, it's just, I think it behooves us to probably go with something to start with, throw it out on one of those, whatever it is, Craigslist. I know I could get on my computer and search antique fire trucks and see these different sites, but they go all over, and most of them are, in the Midwest. They're nothing really local. So I don't know how much energy we want to put into this, but I think, it's kind of like the Yellow Pages. Let the fingers do the walking, let the picture do the walking for us. We just put it on there and it goes out to whomever, and if they call, fine. If not, I don't know. It just seems like we get more bang, I think, putting it out there. And time wise, first of the year, anytime after the pictures are taken at leisure, just put them on.
Yeah.
I yield.
Okay, we'll keep working on it. Definitely want to.
Jason, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have lots of pictures of that truck, like 6 or 8 of them.
Okay.
I believe Janice has got a copy of them.
Okay. Yeah, we'll maybe we'll use those and coordinate with some other ones or figure out what the best is to get advertised. So.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe Stacy had mentioned that she already had some pictures of that as well. So
Okay.
I don't know how extensive they were. I had at one time heard that the siren was going to be a focus on it or something. I don't, if that's true, that's where some of its value lies. I don't know how many pictures focus specifically on that element, but.
Okay.
Don't forget the Dalmatian dog to put him in the picture.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep track on that. I definitely want to get that. Justin said before that's been on the budget a couple times, so I want to definitely get that done. We'll just keep pressing forward. And the last addition that I had was a policy handbook, and I believe Justin, you had brought that up.
I know you guys have a committee, so I just wasn't sure. I know you guys had worked on it and how that was, if that was something we were going to try to get passed through before the end of the year, or whatever you were thinking.
Yeah, so we've done quite a bit of work on it already. And the original plan was to get it passed by the end of the year, so it was kind of a clean cut, starting January 1 going forward. Had a little trouble getting a hold of our lawyer that's working on it with us. So we're gonna try to meet with Kelly Cronkite, which is the lawyer that through the office that's working on us with this loss prevention grant on Friday. The little bit of resistance there is that the loss prevention grant is supposed to be, reimbursements are supposed to be sent in by December 15th. Actually, November 30th. We got a little longer time on there, but so it's going to be a little nip and tuck whether we can meet with Kelly, get everything figured out how we want it, and get it sent in for reimbursement through before December 15th or by December 15th. So we'll see if that happens, and then if not, we are able to apply again for this money. So if we don't use the money, we have to give it back. If we do use it, obviously we get reimbursed, but we're able to apply for it again next year if we had to give that money back. So that's the worst case scenario, but I'm pressing forward to try to get it done before then. So to answer your question, yes, still trying to get it done before the end of the year. And to just kind of be clear, that's no fault of us, as far as we maybe took a little bit too much time on it in the beginning. However, the last couple of weeks has been just trying to get it time set up and try to meet with the lawyer helping us. So. Okay. Does that answer your questions, Justin?
Yeah, totally fine for me.
Okay.
And then are you going to be able to, I know you mentioned it, but do we hammer out a time or a date for a budget workshop and or the special meeting, the final special meeting to adopt the budget and everything?
Yeah, so the final date, I'd obviously like to, both of them I'd like to do sooner than later, just to make sure we don't get behind or get in a time crunch. What are you guys thinking for our budget workshop? Is early next week too soon? Or what works for the council? I plan on having it done and ready to talk about and present another preliminary version of it whenever we want to meet. So that's up to you guys. What works best for the council?
Not Thursdays. Other than that, I'm fine.
Okay.
Early next week is fine.
I'm open.
Okay.
I'm open, Nathan. I'm open anytime. For the
Okay,
most
does
part.
anyone have a problem with, it would be a week from today on the 16th for a budget workshop.
Sounds good for me. This is Peter.
Wednesday the 16th. Perfect.
Yeah, correct.
I have no problem with that either.
Okay. Levi,
What time?
Is 6 o'clock too early for anyone? Just to give us enough time, so if we chatty Cathy's, we have some time to go through stuff. I would have
6
proposed.
Yeah,
o'clock's perfect.
I can access or call in from work, so I'll be fine with that.
Okay. Well, let's plan on that then. Wednesday the 16th at 6 o'clock. And then if something comes up, I'll let you guys know. But sounds like it'll work for now. As far as the final adoption, we originally had it set for the 22nd. I'd like to leave that maybe and see how after we meet next week, just to choose that date. If that's all right with you guys.
Just
Hey,
a
Nathan,
comment.
go ahead, Peter.
I was just going to say, after our last session with the budget, my impression is it's in pretty good form. There's not a great deal of work left to be done with it. What's your impression, Nathan?
I would agree with that statement for the most part. I think overall we are just fine. I'm just wanting to get I got a few items that I want to get ironed out and make sure that they're correct. Some stuff with grants and the loans and stuff like that, just to make sure I'm on board and everything's correct. And then obviously to make sure everybody can agree with rates for water, sewer, garbage stuff, and as well as salary stuff. So those are the big items I want to make sure that we can talk about and focus on. But yes, I would agree with that statement.
If you find anything that you intend to change, I'd be grateful if you'd let us know by email so we have time to assimilate it before the meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Stephen, did you have something?
Yeah, I don't know if I should have added it to the agenda. It's really more of a little question that is just kind of a side thing. Are you willing to entertain that, or is that improper?
I think if it's a question, I think we'd be all right.
So I was taking a walk the other day, and I was noticing, how do I describe this? I guess it'd be the building that's across from the food mart. It has the old Penny's hair salon or whatever.
Yes.
Has this light out front that has big 8-foot T8s overhead. Who owns that light?
I would certainly guess, and this is just a guess, but I would certainly think that it would be the city.
Well, that was kind of my thought as well. I guess I would have a recommendation. I'll just leave this at that. Of twofold. One, we should maybe consider, if we're not going to maintain it or do anything with it in the future, maybe we should take it down.
Okay.
If we're not going to do that, we should at least take the old T8 light bulbs out of it. Because I've wondered a few times, if I was to just shake this thing, would 8-foot T8s with glass and a little bit of mercury fall on my head? I don't know. Maybe they're in there securely. I haven't wanted to test the theory, but it's just one area where there's glass hanging over people's heads potentially, and it could be something that I've never even seen it on. So I don't know that it can turn on. So taking the bulbs out seems like a good safety precaution, but that's it.
I will check
Steve,
into it,
is this
and-
where the pumps used to be?
Yeah. Yep.
They call you back
Okay.
in the meeting.
So, yeah, I'll check into it and see. I would think that we own it, but I don't know that for sure. Okay,
That light belongs to Mike Heron, Nathan.
does it for sure?
They might.
It's in the sidewalk.
Yes. Used to be the pump island for that gas station, the old Ford garage there.
Right. Okay.
Is there precedent for private property being embedded in a public sidewalk?
That we have or in general?
Well, that we have. It seems like an interesting situation.
Yeah.
There is now.
Not that I've seen. We could do a little research on it.
Okay.
So if you're feeling froggy, you can come down and look through ordinances and see if there's anything. But I don't know of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. I think that's it. Is everybody agree?
Well, Nathan, I'd like to add, or just a tidbit, FYI for everybody, update actually,
Okay.
is that I received the 5 computers today, so I'll be delivering them down to City Hall. I was going to do it today, but it didn't work out, and so tomorrow I'll be delivering them down to Janice, and I imagine, Stephen, you're going to be setting them up, I presume, or
Yep.
or whatever you're going to do, work magic with them. So,
Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate you
that's-
saying something, David, because I see tech equipment update right there on the agenda, and I totally skipped over it.
yeah, it's no problem. Yeah, they're here, and they haven't been opened. They're ready to go. So I haven't gift wrapped them at all. So
Well, it is the holiday season.
anyhow.
I think they should be wrapped.
I thought about it. You know, at least put a bow on them, right?
Yeah.
And, City Hall delivery, okay, or Stevens Hall? Where do you guys want them?
No, I'll pick them up at City
Well,
Hall.
Yeah.
And
City
then
Hall.
for my half
Okay,
of it
City Hall.
that I got in the microphones, which, by the way, I don't
Uh-huh.
know if we talked about that, but I did find a deal on the microphones and the cameras. Little last minute thing there. Costco was running a deal. Actually, since this is an agenda item, I'll talk a little bit more about it to say it allowed me to actually get 2 of the microphones for the price I was going to get one of them. A little bit different model number, but the nice thing about that is when we go back to meeting around that long table, we can put one microphone at one end and one at the other and broadcast stereo. So that should make it a lot easier than trying to have one microphone in the middle of the whole table and have it reach everyone to the ends. Got the camera set up, all the firmware updates and all the things. I am seeing it show up as a webcam on Janice's laptop, which I've also set up and been doing the firmware updates and everything on that. I need to get that down to Janice this week so that we can start doing some setup things. I don't expect that she'll be using it as her main computer until January because there's the easiest way to migrate the BIOS software is to move our BIOS account from on machine to the cloud. And then once it's in the cloud, then we'll just install the BIOS software and log in from the laptop. And Janice and I were talking and we thought, with everything that goes on at the end of the year and how far along we are in December, it may be better to get through the end of the year than to take a chance of having there be any hiccups in the machines on BIOS situation, because we're not really hurting for the migration. If we suddenly got into a sudden lockdown situation, I could get us the rest of the way in short order. But until we have some type of a pressing situation, perhaps it's best not to tempt fate on that. But yeah, I'll be bringing that laptop down and we can start doing some things with it. It'll have Office on it. We can start, getting a browser set up and all that kind of stuff. And then the camera, I'll work on getting that installed up over the library area so that that'll be a fixed camera location shooting down at that table. And yeah, I'll pick up the iPads and get those configured. I'm hoping so that you guys have context of this. I haven't done this before. This is the price, I guess, you pay for not paying for someone who's been a professional iPad administrator. But I've done the research to look into, I think we can get access to some Apple software that will allow us to remotely administer those iPads for free, which why that matters to you guys is that it'll be a lot easier that if I need to make changes on your guys' devices, I think we can do it remotely. Like when we get our emails set up, I don't think I'll have to have you guys bring your iPads back to me and then tap around on the thing and type it in. I think I can just put in a configuration profile and the email will just show up on your machines. Hoping, never done that before, but from what I'm reading, it seems like it'll work. So there's going to be some experimentation with an iPad because the person could ask the question, why is it taking so long to get the iPad set up? I got a new iPad for Christmas and I got set up in 30 minutes. Well, yeah, you could do that with these too, if that's what we were looking to do. But really, we don't want 5 different devices that are all set up like 5 personal devices. What does Justin say here? With having access to my iPad in remote fashion. Well, you can take that up with the mayor. So anyways, I'll get all that moving through towards January is when I'm hoping you guys will actually start seeing a lot of this stuff light up. But just so you know, I am working on it in December. There's just a lot of prep time to hopefully get us into what I've found generally in life is that if you want a really good, high quality, low maintenance solution, usually it takes a fair amount of time and investment up front to get it set up right and working correctly. So that's what I'm working on now so that hopefully everything works smoothly later. So
Well, and I appreciate all that work. So we're at the mercy of you, and the labor's pretty cheap, so we appreciate it.
yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad we touched on that. Thank you for saying something, David. I totally skipped over that on the agenda. So
You're welcome.
okay, it is not on here. However, I would go ahead and ask that if any public has comment at this time to go ahead and go forth with questions, comments.
They're probably all on mute, Nathan.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't see any in the chat box. I have not heard anything so far.
Move to adjourn.
Okay, well, hearing no public comment, we have a motion to adjourn by Levi,
Peter seconds.
and we have a second
Yeah, go
by
ahead.
Peter. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of adjourning at 8:35 signify by saying aye.
Peter.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, council. Appreciate it.
Gentlemen, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you,
You
Nathan.
too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.